Six-time Super Bowl champion Bill Belichick is finalizing a 5-year deal to become the head coach of the University of North Carolina football team. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, the 72-year-old parted ways with the New England Patriots at the end of last season. Belichick has won 333 games as a head coach in the NFL. That's 15 wins shy of the all-time record. North Carolina 10th in the ACC this year.
Good guy, that Mike Garafolo.
Here he is. Wow, this news had to send shockwaves through the league on Wednesday. Mike Garafolo from the NFL Network, our weekly buddy we get to chat with about the league. And you know, we fully expected Belichick to be back in the NFL, Mike. So does this close the door on Belichick returning to the NFL?
No, I mean, there's nothing to say that Bill Belichick can't. It's a 3-year contract. Can go coach there for a couple of years and then pursue Don Shula's regular season win record. But this was, when it first hit, the reaction from across the league, the reaction from a candidate that I spoke to for that job down there, or somebody that was trying to maneuver, said, he's got all these demands. He wants his son to be part of the staff and a potential successor, and he wants this for NIL, and he wants an entire staff to handle just recruiting in addition to the coaching staff, and all these demands that he's making for a job he's not interested in. And then as you dug in this a little bit more, I got the sense as of a couple of days ago, 1, it was real, and 2, it was likely to happen. And sure enough, it did. And everything that he asked for, the university was willing to accommodate, and they came to an agreement, and this thing got done. So, yeah, it's that NFL approach that he's going to take. And this is a guy who wasn't just a coach in the NFL. He ran the entire building in New England. So he understands the importance of your personnel staff, your scouting staff, and the coaching staff working together. And this is what's driven head coaches in college crazy, to the point where they have given up their head coaching jobs for coordinator jobs in the NFL. And even in college, in the case of Chip Kelly, they can't handle all this NIL stuff on top of all the recruiting. It's like an 11-month out of the year nonstop job for them. Well, Belichick said, I can come in, I can have a staff on the personnel side, just like I had in the NFL, handle my coaching stuff. Now, he's going to have to cross over as the head coach, obviously, but if you've got the people doing the legwork and you're just coming in to close these recruits, and you're Bill Belichick, you should be able to close the recruits, then this thing can run as a smooth operation. I am excited to see it. He opens up, I just saw this right before I came, he opens up against TCU, which coincidentally was the same team that Deion Sanders opened up a couple of years ago, pulled off that upset to announce his arrival on the college scene. This is going to be fascinating for a number of reasons. I'm excited to see Bill Belichick at UNC.
You touched on something that makes me wonder. The fact that Belichick gets all this power in North Carolina, the same kind of power in a similar structure he had in New England, the fact that maybe he couldn't acquire that same power in the NFL now in this modern age, making all the personnel decisions, Mike. Well, and maybe he could, maybe he couldn't. But I'm just wondering, do you think that might have driven him away from the NFL towards something that maybe he had a little more say?
No, I believe he has a passion for the college game. We know about his connections to Navy. I mean, his father was an assistant coach at North Carolina. So, he's steeped in the history of the game on all levels. So I do believe that this called out to him, and it's not a bad place to be, Chapel Hill, if you haven't been there before. It's a great place to live. I love visiting there. I love going down there for pro days when they have some players working out. I'm looking forward to maybe getting down to see the first pro day with Bill Belichick there as the head coach there. So a lot of things came together and made sense for Bill Belichick to take this job at North Carolina. I thought Akbar Bajabiamila, my friend and coworker on Good Morning Football, had the best line of the day when he said, well, he's already shown a penchant for being able to recruit young talent, and then proceeded to act like he didn't make the joke that everybody was making on that one. Good. Well done, Akbar.
Yeah, I heard Sirat Sohi say that maybe he could qualify for student housing. Okay, with his girlfriend. Here we go. Let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles, Mike. Rumors swirling of tension between Eagles receiver A.J. Brown and quarterback Jalen Hurts, when Brown said passing was what the offense needed to improve on after the Eagles win over the Panthers Sunday. And add more fuel to the fire when teammate Brandon Graham said Brown and Hurts were friends before this, but things have changed. Well, Brown and Hurts met with the media Wednesday to address all of this.
BG was just being BG. He's emotional. In that case, he just misspoke. You know, me and Jalen are good, so he's BG, guys. So everybody loves BG. You know, he's speaking from the heart. You know, he's just giving his perception on something from the outside. I think that's what everybody. I think that's what the world did. You know, they perceived what I said about passing and felt like it was an attack on Jalen, and I think that's what he did. You know, me and Jalen relationship is personal. So I mean. So yeah, I can see that.
How would you characterize your relationship with Jalen right now?
Me and his relationship are good.
We're good. We're good. Ultimately, you know, he's a guy that's a competitor. You know, he wants to win. He damn sure wants the ball, and he wants to make an impact in the game. I think in the end, Brandon, BG, we calling him Brandon. BG knows he spoke out of place. And he knows that.
Huh. Okay. Okay, Mike. So did that clear the air for you, or do you think all is still not right in the city of brotherly love?
No, here's what I believe is going to happen this upcoming weekend. A.J. Brown's going to get the football, and A.J. Brown's going to get the football a bunch, because this is not the first time that we've seen this. It happened last year. He had a game for like 4 catches for 29 yards, and then the next week it was 9 for 131. So I expect something in that ballpark, maybe not all the way there, but something in that ballpark. But that's why this one took off the way that it did, because you had a player on the inside who, frankly, when I was listening to it, initially, I thought to myself, does Brandon Graham think he's already retired? Because that's a lot of times you'll see that when a player retires, all of a sudden it's an open book type thing. We're going back to when Tiki Barber was an analyst and he took a shot at Eli Manning back when I was covering the Giants. So it just didn't take much, because we've been through this before. And I saw A.J. Brown's reaction. There was a play early in the game on Sunday. I was covering the game. I was up in the press box. They were running the route sort of towards me. He was wide open on a flag route deep down the field. For whatever reason, Jalen Hurts didn't pull the trigger. He looked like he was looking his way. Brown was not happy after that one. Now, you've got an offense with a lot of guys that are really good skill position players, and that ball's got to get around to them, and Saquon Barkley is getting it a bunch. And he's being talked about as MVP. So if you're a wide receiver who's used to getting a high volume of footballs and you're not getting them, and you know you're open and there's big plays to be made, even if you're winning and you're on a 9-game winning streak, these kinds of emotions are going to come up. What you don't need is your teammate to then say, well, it's a personal thing between the two of them. People have downplayed that to me last year and now. These guys were close before Brown got onto the Eagles team. I don't know if they're as close. I do know that they've still got a good working relationship. And again, Jay, I expect them to try to put this to bed. Watch the first play of the game. Like, it may be just a quick throw to A.J. Brown just to get the ball in his hand.
Okay, finally, the December NFL League meetings have wrapped up in North Texas. And Mike, I understand there were some intriguing developments. What were some of your biggest takeaways?
Well, there's no votes on rules changes. That happens in the offseason at the March meeting. That's where they'll make the changes, potentially at the May meetings as well. But they talked about what they're going to be looking at as part of the competition committee. We just had a face mask again the other night on a quarterback in a key spot. Yep. Joe Burrow got his face mask pulled. Remember the Sam Darnold one from earlier in the year? So the NFL indicated at that meeting that they have had some discussions, and this is something they're going to explore maybe late in the game, where you can review something like a face mask. Not necessarily a pass interference. We've been down that road. That one was a little too subjective. But a face mask, you can see that on replay, and any other egregious penalties. I think a lot of folks would like to see that happen, to be able to correct that in a key spot. Maybe not the whole entire game. Low blocks is something that they want to take out. No more diving at legs in any situation, because we've had so many injuries in that regard. I think that is a potentially a wise move when you talk about the health and safety of the game. The onside kick, we haven't seen many successful ones. They're going to talk about a potential tweak to that and another way around it. We talked about the 4th and 15 type play that's been proposed before instead of the onside kick. So I think you could see something like that be a serious discussion this offseason to try to get some excitement late in the games. And then the last one, the 18-game schedule. It's coming, Jay, eventually. Yeah. There's going to be an 18th game. I don't know if it's 2 years, 3 years, whatever. Roger Goodell indicated it is not immediate right now, but I do believe that we are not far off from getting 18 games. We're in 24, maybe 26, 27, somewhere around there for the NFL. And I would say this, by adding the 18th game, it's going to open up the possibility, and it's been discussed, of every team having an international game.
Wow.
So whether it is London, France, Spain, Ireland, Mexico, all these countries they talked about, or coming up to see you guys up there in Canada, I would love to see that happen.
I would love to see you in Canada. As for an NFL game, I think that ship may have sailed. But I'll say this. When they talk about two guys being on the same page, right here, me and Mike Garafolo, always, forever. That'll never change, buddy.
This friendship's moving in one direction, Jay, toward outright stone-cold love, brother.
That's exactly right.